Hey everyone, today I'm coming to you with a review on the brand new Marvel Legends Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania Cassie Lang Build-A-Figure Waves Wasp. That was quite a mouthful. I did get this figure at GameStop Canada. I paid around $32.39. Keep in mind that is a Canadian price. And as far as this figure goes, I think she is quite good, at least as far as a Wasp MCU figure goes. The last one was not that great. I'm going to just say it was bad straight up. It really wasn't a good figure whatsoever. But this one definitely does have a lot of improvements over that one. Still, there are a significant amount of problems with this, at least to me, and I will get into that in the video. Which, speaking of which, let's get into the review for the brand new Marvel Legends Wasp. Now, as always, before I get into the figure, I do want to start off with the packaging for this Wasp. She's, of course, in the standard Marvel Legends plastic-free packaging design. On the front, we have a rendered image of the figure, and she does look quite good there. Behind that, we have a concept art image of the character in the Quantum Realm, which is quite cool. On the bottom, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which is a older logo. Warning, don't choke. Plastic-free packaging, Hasbro. On the top, Marvel's Wasp. On this side, we have that same concept art image of Wasp that is on the front, just, of course, colored here, and she does look quite good. You can't see her eyes. I think that was the same with the Ant-Man concept art, so that is definitely interesting because you can see the eyes on the figure, as you can see. On the bottom, Marvel Legends series, and a little bit of a design there. On the back, we have another rendered image of the figure, this time with her helmet off and her unmasked head on. We do have all of her accessories there on the right, as well as the Build-A-Figure piece that she's included with, being one of Cassie's legs. On the top, Marvel Legends series logo, Marvel's Wasp. There we have the GameStop Canada price for Wasp, like I showed earlier, and if you do want to get her at GameStop Canada, if you do live in Canada, there is the SKU 776488. So if you call a local store, they'll be able to say if they have it or if any stores nearby will have it. I think you can do that online too, but I'm not too sure. Anyways, that is kind of besides the point. Bunch of legalese here as always. On this side, of course, we have the Cassie Lang Build-A-Figure along with all the other figures you need to build said Build-A-Figure, being Kang the Conqueror, Ultron, Egghead, Crossfire, Future Ant-Man. All of these reviews will be coming very shortly. Kang will be next. That's my most anticipated video easily because I have a lot to say about that figure. Some legalese here on the bottom. On the top, we have A for, I have no clue what that would be for. It's for Avengers. Like I said in the Ant-Man review, I don't know why they went for the Avengers logo. They could have done something Ant-Man related, but still not too big of a deal. And anyways, lastly, on the top, we have the Marvel Legends series logo, Build-A-Figure Cassie Lang 4+. And other than that, that's pretty much all that I want to go over with the packaging. So let's get on to the Wasp figure herself. Here we have the Wasp figure herself, along with all of her accessories that she's included with, being a extra unmasked head sculpt, a extra set of open hands, as well as a extra winged backpack or jetpack or wingsuit. I don't exactly know what to call it. I'm just going to call it like a backpack. Let's call it a backpack. But you get this one with the wings folded in, and the one that is on the figure, of course, does have the wings folded out. Now, you can just swap these out very easily. They do have kind of a unique looking peg. It's a circle, but it has a little knob sticking out, so you wouldn't be able to use this on like other figures with pegs in the back, but it does just go in like so, and it fits in pretty well. It's not going to come out. Now, both of these wing packs or backpacks, like I was calling them, are the same ones that were included with the previous Wasp figure from the 2018 Call Obsidian Build-A-Figure wave. I believe that's what it was. And as you can see, very similar, but they do have a little bit of a different color, at least in the molding. Not too big of a difference, though. I kind of do want to see what this one, though, looks like on this old Wasp. I kind of think that blends in a little bit better in this one with the more shinier color. Maybe I'll switch them out, but no. For now, let's do it how the figure was designed and put that one back in. We'll put this and this to the side. Now, focusing on the winged out backpack, whatever you want to call it, the wings do have some articulation. The big ones can go up like that much. I should save this for the articulation, but I'll show it right now as it is an accessory, and these can go down. You can kind of have them go up like that, down, and, you know, you get a decent amount of articulation, but nothing too crazy. And then you can, of course, just put this back on. And now this one does have the wing, so you would think that it would come off easier, but the peg that they designed for this figure, or the material, it's kind of more of a rubberier plastic, or I don't exactly know what to describe it, but it holds the backpack in a little bit better than like a harder plastic that is used on figures such as this. But as you can see with the wings on the Wasp figure, she does look quite good. And at least to my eyes, she does look quite identical to her design in the Quantumania movie. Although I guess the main drawback of these is that they are a cut, copy, paste of the previous figure's wings, which, you know, I guess I understand if you don't like that, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And as far as the wings go, I don't think there is a problem with them whatsoever. They were perfectly fine on the 2018 version, just like they are perfectly fine on this version. But other than that, I don't think there's anything more that I want to say with this wing pack or this one. So let's get on to the extra head sculpt. And here we have our Hope Van Dyne, or Evangeline Lilly, I believe that is her name, head sculpt. I think that this looks spot on, just like the Paul Rudd head sculpt looked like on the Ant-Man figure that I reviewed. I think that likeness was amazing, and this one is no less whatsoever. They've just been getting better and better at these photoreels, so I'm really excited to see what it looks like in like 5 years, because right now I think they're at like an almost perfect place, but just to see the constant evolution of Hasbro, because there certainly is something I always like to see. This head sculpt also does have the short hair for the Wasp, and I really think that is perfect. I love that design in the movie, and I think it translates perfect onto this 6-inch action figure. Now, of course, I do want to show you what it looks like on the figure. Just like the Ant-Man, she does have a skin-colored dumbbell joint in the neck, which is at least, you know, unique to me. Most of the time, it is kind of the same color as the rest of the figure. But with this head sculpt on, as you can see, that looks so awesome, and I love how these Phase 4 and Phase 5 designs just keep looking more and more accurate to the comic designs of each of the characters, and this, as you can see, is no exception. The yellow with the blue and the short hair, this is awesome. This is so awesome. Whatever you think of the movie, this is an awesome figure. But lastly, for accessories with this Wasp figure, as you can see here, we do have the open hands, like I mentioned earlier. She kind of is in like a zombie pose, which is, you know, ironic as she was in the zombie episode of What If. But anyways, as you can see, nothing too crazy to go on about here. They look good, you know, good pose. They could work as some action hands, action open hands, but they also kind of work as just relaxed hands if you put them by her side. As far as that goes, though, pretty good hands. But with those out of the way, that is all the accessories with the Wasp, so let's get into the figure herself. Now here we have the masked head sculpt that is included with this Wasp figure, and just like with the Ant-Man that I reviewed yesterday, it's probably one of my bigger complaints. Now for different reasons, that Ant-Man had just like a molding and marbleization issue on the forehead. This one, it's weird because I don't exactly know what is the problem with it. It might be the lack of paint on the black or dark gunmetal gray color, but I think more importantly, it's the visor where you can see her eyes. I think it's just too far ahead or something. I don't exactly know what it is. And also when you compare it to the head sculpt on the box, at least to me, they look completely different. That could just be me. I don't know. It's just not exactly what I was expecting. Not terrible, like it works perfectly fine for Wasp, and I'm going to have her displayed with it, but I just think, you know, maybe they could have done a little bit of a better job. Now moving down to the torso, just like with the Ant-Man figure that I reviewed yesterday, you do have that basketball texture on this figure, but with this one, you do have it on the black parts and the yellow parts, and what I really like with it on this figure is it in combination with the blue, because yes, the yellow and blue is a cool color to have on a figure, but more importantly, the texture on the yellow has the basketball texture, but on the blue parts, all of the blue parts on the figure, it is smooth, and I just think that makes for quite a cool and unique costume design. That could just be me, but mainly the blue is what did impress me when I opened this figure. The rest of it is, of course, awesome. I at least could just be me, but I really like the blue that is included here. Now, just like with the Cassie Lang and the Ant-Man figure, you do have that same circle in the center of the torso. I don't exactly know what to call it. I like calling it the Pym arc reactor, but I quite like that design on all the figures, and I think here on the Wasp, that is no exception. But other than that, going to the lower half of the torso, you have some cool design here going on. Nothing too crazy. Turning her around, though, you do have some of that blue pattern continued. Taking the wing pack off, you do have the peg, of course, and some more of that yellow detail, but really nothing more going on the back. They did actually make the part where you do put the backpack on smooth, because there is a little bit of an indent, at least to me, so it does fit in very well because of that. I'm pretty sure that's all that I want to go over with the torso. But moving on to the arms, you do have that same basketball texture continued, as well as with the smooth blue. I think that does look really good there on the upper arm. Moving down to the forearm, nothing much more going on the inside, but on the outside, you have a little bit of yellow, but more importantly, you have her Pym particle gauntlet. Don't exactly know what to call it, but that does look quite good. The silver there is very nicely applied. And then on the other side, it is no different. It is essentially identical. But moving down to the legs, lastly, there isn't too much going on here. The main thing that stands out, at least to me, is of course the blue. You know, I haven't stopped talking about the blue. It matches my gloves. That's my explanation. But the main reason why I really like this blue here is it does wrap around the whole figure. As you can see, it's on the front, wraps around to the back, and wraps around once again to the front. Nothing too crazy. I just think that is kind of a cool addition to the costume that really benefits this action figure. The only downside with it is the upper thigh cut. As you can see, that blue line cuts really easily when you move it even the smallest bit, so keep that in mind. But moving down, you don't have too much going on besides that basketball texture. It continued a little bit of like a smoother line on the top of the leg. Going down though to the knees, you have a little bit of yellow to finish off the legs of the figure. Some more of that texture, the basketball texture, a little bit of smooth there too. And then she does have a heel. Now, unlike most Marvel Legends with heels, as most of you know, if your life depended on it, you probably couldn't get them to stand. But with this Wasp, at least for me, I think she stands pretty well. I don't think there's any problems, at least for me, standing her up. So I hope that is the same for you. But other than that, I'm pretty sure that's all that I want to go over with this Wasp figure. So let's get on to her articulation and then the comparisons. Now, moving on to the articulation with this Wasp, the head does go back. Oh, pops off easily that much, forward that much, side, and full 360 on that dumbbell joint. So pretty good range overall, although I do wish the head could have gone back just a little bit more as she's going to be getting in a lot of flight poses, but at least the ab crunch does help with that. Anyways, the arms did go out that much, down, full 360, single jointed elbows, which normally I would be a little mad about, but you know, because of the range that we get here, it works perfectly fine. And of course, you do get a little bit of tilt at the elbow as well. Hands do go up that much, down that much, full 360 on a horizontal hinge, both sides and both pairs, the fists as well. Now, this is my biggest problem with the articulation on this Wasp. The ab crunch goes back pretty good. Like, there's no complaints really with me for that, but look at this. You can't move it forward at all. So, you know, we get the ab man. I was like, oh, yay, they're going back to the good ab crunch on the MCU figures, and Wasp completely shatters that because she cannot go forward whatsoever. That is quite a bummer. I don't get why they couldn't have figured out a way to get her to move a little bit more forward, but I guess it is what it is. Side, and full 360. There's your full range with the head and the ab crunch. Legs kick forward that much. Back, not at all. Splits, upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless knees, and then the ankles to go up, down, and beautiful ankle rocker pivot. Now, first for comparisons, here we have our Quantumania Wasp next to the previous MCU Wasp from the Call Obsidian Build-A-Figure wave from the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. It was an okay figure, but just looking at this one compared to the new one, it's like light and day. This one's kind of a bad figure, I'm just going to be honest. The legs were always a big problem with me. Look at them, they're like bending in, and just the whole proportions were kind of off. But anyways, here we have the Quantumania one also next to the comic Wasp from the Ultron Build-A-Figure wave. Here we also have the unmasked head sculpt on the new Wasp figure next to the comic figure, as they do have the same hair design. And that's why I really love the short hair look in the MCU, because that's kind of what I'm most familiar with Wasp in the comics. Next up, here we have our Quantumania Wasp next to all of our other Quantumania figures so far, being Kang the Conqueror, Ant-Man, as well as, of course, the Cassie Lang Build-A-Figure herself. Here we have our Quantumania trio, but with all their unmasked head sculpts on, and I think this looks really good because the photoreal on these is honestly some of the best. Here we have the Wasp next to the Ant-Man from the Call Obsidian Build-A-Figure wave, also from the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, as well as the future Ant-Man from the same wave. I thought I would compare him next to her as he's on that Sunfire body, which is kind of a standard 6-inch Marvel Legends bug. And lastly, for comparisons, here we have our Quantumania Wasp next to some other MCU female protagonists, although I don't know about you anymore. Anyways, we have the Wanda from WandaVision, as well as the mighty Thor, Jane Foster from Love and Thunder. But lastly, for my final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania Wasp figure, even though I do have a few gripes with her here and there, which I did share, I still think overall she probably is, I'm going to say probably, because I'm not entirely sure, the best Marvel Legends Wasp, or even just 6-inch Wasp that we have gotten to date. I could be out of my depth saying that, but at least compared to the MCU one and the other comic ones, I really don't think there is any competition. The brand new sculpt here is really good, along with the unmasked head sculpt. The masked one, like I said, has a little left to be desired, but that could just be me. And then, of course, the ab crunch does also have something left to be desired. But with all that, I still think the good outweighs the bad with that. And if you just want a Marvel Legends or just a 6-inch Wasp figure from the MCU, this is definitely the one to go for, and I don't think you will be disappointed by this whatsoever. But that is kind of my thoughts on that. For my rating of this figure, with the price and account being, of course, like $32.39 Canadian, keep in mind, which I did share earlier, I'm probably going to give her, what are we going to go with here? I gave Ant-Man an 8.2, I believe, so I think she's a little bit lower than him, but I'll give her a 8 out of 10. I think that is a fair rating. But as always, let me know what you think of her in the comments down below. Are you going to pick her up? Are you not? Do you even like her? Do you not? As always, start a conversation and I will try my best to respond. But until my next video, I have, of course, been Jagger Collector. She has been Wasp. And I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.